Greetings, viewers. Welcome to today's edition. I'll be talking about biology, um, specifically on variation. Now, before I continue, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel on Biology and Parasitology Hub. Then, what is variation all about? I will explain variation in the terms of human beings, for instance. Now, human beings fall under the species of Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens. So all human beings are Homo sapiens. Now, even though that we are of the same species, we still have basic differences. Between us. So those differences that are found within the same species is what we call variation. So variation are those differences that are observed within a species. So I've used the case of human being to explain variation, where all human beings fall under the Homo sapiens, and that these Homo sapiens, which are the species of human beings, that they still have differences between or in between them or within them, and those differences that are observed within the species is what we call variation. Now, this variation can be due to the effect of inherited characteristics. Inherited what? Characteristics and environment or acquired characteristics. So variations, the effects of variations can be due to inherited characteristics and environment or acquired characteristics. Now, inherited characteristics means those characteristics that are passed from parents to offsprings, while environment or acquired characteristics are those characteristics that a person or an animal can actually get on its own naturally. Then we will go over to the types of variation. Types of variation. We have morphological variation, and we have physiological variation. We can also have what we call continuous variation, and we have the one that is called discontinuous variation. And before I continue, hope you're understanding what I'm teaching about variation. Now, continuous variation, we have discontinuous, and we have morphological, and we have physiological. I'll first of all explain continuous variation. Now, these variations, this is a type of variation in which a given feature shows a gradual transition between two extreme forms. Now, is a type of variation that shows transition within two extreme forms. For example, when a human being grows from short to tall, so that transition of growing from short height to a tall height is what we call continuous variation. So I've given an example: transition from short height to a very tall height. So continuous variation are variations that show transition between two extreme forms. Then discontinuous variation are those variations that show sharp differences. They do not have intermediate forms. That is, for example, a person is born with ear. So ear does not just, for example, if a new child is born, the new child will continue to have ear. It does not grow or develop much. So this is an example of discontinuous variation. So there are those variations that occur naturally and they do not develop or they do not transit, unlike the continuous variation. Then you're going to look at the morphological variation. The morphological variation is the form and structure of an organism. It determines the physical appearance. Those physical appearance that are used to identify individuals of a population. So these are morphological variation are those variation that is being determined by physical appearances like size, color, and fingerprints. Size, color, and fingerprints. So these are morphological variation. Those variations that are determined by physical appearances of human beings or animals. Then we look at color, fingerprints, and skin and size. These are examples of morphological variation. Then we now look at physiological variation. Physiological variation are those variations that are not visible or they are not visibly apparent like the morphological variation. They are not seen. These variations are not seen, but they are inside or they are contained inside the body of the animals or human beings. So these variations are not seen physically. Examples are behavioral pattern, ability to test PTC. And what is this PTC? PTC means phenylthiocarbamide. So the ability to test PTC, behavior pattern, blood group, and the ability to roll the tongue, So these are examples of physiological variations. You see, behavioral patterns cannot be seen physically in a person. You cannot just observe somebody that can test PTC. You cannot just see somebody's blood group physically. Neither can you see somebody that has the ability to roll the tongue physically. So they are not like morphological variation. They are internal characteristics or internal distinctions, which include behavior pattern, ability to test phenylthiocarbamide PTC, blood group, and ability to roll the tongue. Now, JAMB can ask question like this: which of these physiological variations are discontinuous? Is a discontinuous variation. Now let us look at this one by one. If you look at behavior pattern, you see that behavior, when we talk about continuous variation are those ones that show transition from one extreme form to another. I made use of height, for example, growth, growth of height. So behavior pattern does not transit from one form to other. So it is a discontinuous variation. Ability to test phenylthiocarbamide is also a discontinuous variation because it does not transit from one form to another. Blood group is also a discontinuous variation because it does not transit from one form to is a discontinuous variation because it does not transit from one form to another. Then ability to roll the tongue, the same thing. So all of them are discontinuous variation. So you see that all physiological variation are discontinuous variation. Take note. Then let us look at how can morphological also be a continuous variation. Example of morphological, we talked about color, we talked about size, we talked about fingerprints. Now, it's only size that is a continuous variation because it transits from one form to another. So take note of all these points. Now, we're going to be looking at the blood groups. The blood groups. We have 4 blood groups. We have the A, we have the B, we have the AB, and we have O. Now, these are the 4 distinct blood groups. Antigens, there is something we call antigens. They are found on the surface of the red blood cell. Take note, JAMB likely question. They are found on the surface of the red blood cell, while antibodies are found in the blood plasma. Now let us look at blood group, the antigens and the antibodies. Now, blood group A has an antigen A, then anti-B as the antibody, anti-B. So blood group A has antigen of what? A, and antibody, that's anti-B. While blood group B has antigen of B and antibody of anti-A. Blood group AB has antigen of A and B and does not have any antibody, neither. Then blood group O has no antigen, but has antibody of anti-A and anti-B. So take note of all these. Now, there's something that we call agglutination. What is this agglutination? Agglutination is the clumping of the red blood cell. Let us look at the applications of this variation. Where this variation is being applied. Application of variation. It can be used to detect crime detection, blood transfusion, marriage counseling, And finally, determination of paternity. Determination of paternity. So all these things are applications of variation. Crime detection, blood transfusion. Variation can be applied in crime detection, whereby, for example, for instance, when somebody is being killed, maybe with a knife possibly, so they'll get the knife to know whose fingerprints was there last. So it helps. So fingerprints plays a role in crime detection as part of variation. Then blood transfusion, blood group. This is where blood group falls into. And marriage counseling and determination of paternity. This topic is mainly for JAMBites, people that are preparing for JAMB. So don't forget to subscribe and like this video. This will be the end of variation. Stay tuned for more videos and shorts on biology and parasitology. Thank you and bye for now.